Nearly a third of Democrats think that Joe Biden should end his re-election bid after his poor debate performance against Donald Trump, according to a new Reuters and Ipsos poll. We also know that Joe Biden is going to give his first post-debate interview with the ABC. Brad, what can you expect? Are you surprised that he's actually going to front up to the cameras again?
Well, no, because he's got to do something to do damage control on this disaster. But what was interesting is that originally this ABC interview was going to be a cut up, like a package of highlights from an interview edited down. They've now announced they're doing it live, I think as a full hour, just live to tape, like as a special. That's much better because we'll actually get to see him in real time. I was worried they were going to do a PR job for the White House and just make him look good in the edit, because that's what we've seen him do in the past. This president has actually notoriously avoided difficult or at all critical interviews and heavily favored, one, he's given far fewer interviews, and two, heavily favored extremely friendly softball interviews in controlled settings. So it'll be good to see him again. But I mean, he can't really do any worse, I guess, is the best you could say. But even then, I don't think people will really be reassured just because he does one interview that's okay. I mean, we saw what we saw, and even if he, and this is true for a lot of older people, and again, there's no shame in this. There's no shame in aging. It's just the clinging to power that's the problem. They have better moments and worse moments. So even if this interview captures him in a sharper, more lucid state, that's ultimately not reassuring when you know he's going to still be having days like he had on the debate stage where he can hardly string a sentence together and looks like he barely knows where he is and is struggling to stay awake.
I agree with you. I think the damage has been done. But since the debate, there's been an even bigger focus on VP Kamala Harris. We heard from Donald Trump at the start of the program. He believes he'll be up against her. Let's listen to what she's had to say recently.
No, Taraji. Now, you know I wouldn't do that, especially not to a fellow bison. The real, ain't you? You know. So what's on your mind?
Oh, Madam VP Harris, I'm worried about the election. Women's reproductive rights are on the line. Our Supreme Court is on the line. Our basic freedoms are being tested, Madam VP. I know you've been traveling across the country. What are you hearing?
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you, you're right, Taraji. There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality. But these extremists, as they say, they're not like us.
It is so cringe. But let's listen to another clip that's been going viral on social media.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been.
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 What we can see, what we believe can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Who we can be unburdened by who we have been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Where we can be unburdened by where we have been and unburdened by where we are right now.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Why is she saying that, Brad? What?
I've probably heard her say that 1,000 times at this point. I still have no idea what it's supposed to mean. I mean, but look, I have to say that Kamala is just cringe personified. She literally, in the first clip you showed, put on a fake black accent that she does not have, talking about, I've been out in these streets. She doesn't speak like that. She went to elite academies growing up. She doesn't have that urban dialect whatsoever. It's totally inauthentic. How is that not deeply offensive to pander to Black people and adopt a fake accent when you're speaking to Black entertainment television? Like, I obviously am not Black. I can't speak for them. I would find that very reductive and offensive if I was, though. And it's just, she is a terrible politician. We know this. And unfortunately, and I know this is going to be controversial to say or whatever, but when the Biden campaign was picking a vice president and they picked Kamala Harris in 2020, they weren't picking who they thought would be the best backup president. They weren't thinking who'd be best on the campaign trail. They were thinking about who would check the identity politics, diversity boxes of a Black woman that they needed, because it's already problematic enough, among the woke identity politics Democratic base, to be running a white man, a white straight man as your candidate. Okay, well, we have to have some diversity and equity in our VP slot. So what they did, we all know this. I'm just being real with you. If she was a white male senator from California who'd never won an election outside of a deep blue state, there's no way he would have picked her as vice president. So what we have is somebody who was put in the job for reasons unrelated to merit and competency, who might be thrust into the limelight, and she hasn't done well when put in the limelight as vice president in the past. Even there's been reports that within the Biden White House, they're really disappointed in her and think she's done a poor job and try to keep her away from the important events and cameras. So look, it's not a great situation either way for the Democrats. They either have a guy who doesn't know where he is and looks addled and confused at random times, or they have someone who's clearly not up for the job, isn't a very good politician, and has just a lot of weird, cringeworthy things that she says, and has never actually won an election in her own right at the top of a ticket in any sort of swing state or battleground, or she has no appeal outside of liberal elites, which they've already got, but she has no appeal to moderates or independents or Midwest voters or anything like that.
Well said. The Democrats have created this mess, and oh gosh, they've got a lot of work to do if they have any chance between now and November 5. Brad Polumbo, great to get your thoughts. So great to speak with you. Thank you for joining us again on Power Hour.
Thank you.